Hi, I'm Riley.
And I'm Katie, and welcome to Ideal Podcast,
where we talk about the ideal and not so ideal moments going from girlhood to womanhood. Okay, welcome back.
Hi, guys.
We have another exciting episode. We have our second guest ever, Joy Harris.
Hi, guys.
We go to school with Joy. We met her last semester, fall semester.
Through work, probably.
Yeah, through work. Yeah, she's amazing.
We love Joy. We literally talk about you all the time.
All the time.
Because, and we knew that you had to be on this podcast because I feel like you're such an interesting person to get to know.
Thank you.
And we're excited to learn a little more about you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be joining you guys today.
You know, I will never forget when we were at your birthday party and your mom kind of like brought us over.
That was amazing.
And she was talking about how she was listening to our podcast and how she was cracking up that we were talking about Teen Wolf.
I remember vividly a conversation with her. We talked about that Teen Wolf segment for a long time. I love the podcast, and now Mom does too.
Well, we should update your mom and tell her that we're watching One Tree Hill now.
Yes.
It's not Teen Wolf anymore.
Okay. You hear that, Mom? So my name is Joy Victoria, or Joy Harris, and I'm into entertainment, so media, whether that's podcasting, acting, and primarily now I mostly do screenwriting. So like I'll tell y'all a little bit about how I got into acting because it's a funny story. I was about 9 years old when I first started doing theater, and I only got into theater because my family and I had just moved from California, where I was originally born, to Georgia. And so, like, we needed to plug in with new people. We didn't know a single family who lived out there. My parents just decided, we're going to Georgia. So here we are in Georgia, this new place. And my parents wanted me to join, like, community theater. Mm-hmm. So I ended up being in my first play, which was called The Living Christmas Tree. And I remember begging my parents to not make me do this.
Been there.
And they're like, you're going to do it. You're going to do it. You might like it. You might not. But at least you'll meet friends and you'll meet some people, because I didn't know anyone out there at the time. So that was my first experience with theater, and it was really amazing because it was this huge production. I thought it was going to be like a small town type of thing, but I think over the weekend of that play, about 5,000 people came to watch. It's an extensive play. They still do it till this day at a church called New Hope Baptist Church, which I ended up going there for some years. Really so cool. It was an amazing experience to like get my foot dipped into the pond of acting, and that was like my first time. So fast forward from there, I would always do spring musicals, and I was kind of accustomed to auditioning, but for theater. So I remember my dad took me to this audition with an agent, and this is like my first experience doing an audition for something that was not theater. And it was like a little silly monologue about like my pet dog. And I was like 10 years old at this time. So it was like, think of more cheesy Disney, Nickelodeon type monologue. And then I did the audition in front of this agent lady. And I remember her telling me, she said, "Whoa." And I was like, are they just telling me this? She said, "This is one of the best auditions I've seen all day." Oh. And I was really shocked because I just liked doing it for fun. And then she looks at me and she says, "I think you can do it." And I was like, what is like it? And she was like, acting. And she said, "But you have to really, really want it." And then she looks at me and she said, "Do you really want it?" I didn't really want it at that time. And I said, because I just thought it was what I was supposed to say. And I remember, I'll always remember this. I don't even think my dad remembers this, but he looked at me and he said, "Joy," he said, "baby, you don't have to lie and say you really want it if you don't." And that meant the world to me, that he was kind of like, this is your choice. So fast forward about 4 years later, when I was like 13, I ended up moving back to California from Georgia. And I was like, I think I want to continue like on the acting road and with like entertainment. So I remember I joined an acting school, and that was my first time kind of trying to hone the craft and take it serious as more of a career. And from there, I started doing auditions for on-screen instead of just theater. I remember getting into on-screen auditions is such an interesting experience because as an actress or actor, you really have to be resilient because you deal with so much rejection. Like you'll get this audition that's coming your way and it's for something and you're like, this can change everything. This is a big film or television show and this can totally alter my life. And I'm going to put my all into doing this audition. But you never expect to hear back because that's just like the nature of how it goes. Everything's so competitive. So you really have to be okay with rejection and getting no's because you get so many no's, especially. And I feel like when you're younger too, learning that lesson benefits you a lot in life as you get older. So that's something that I really appreciate about acting. That's one of the cons, but it works. It can work as a pro if you look at it, I think, in the right lens. And so, so fast forward to me joining Richard Lawson Studios. This was a big and drastic change for me in my life. I met 3 of my favorite people, which are my mentors. And these women, I'm so influenced by these 3 because they've taught me so much about business, but also just about managing life while you're striving to get to a certain point. Because I think your career or what you want to do, especially if you see it as like your purpose in life, it has everything to do with how you balance and manage your personal life. Like when you get things in order for you and your soul and between you and God, I think everything starts to flow in that area of career. So I've learned a lot from them. And then one of my other biggest mentors, his name is Mr. Richard Lawson. He's been in the industry for decades, and he has so much wisdom in dealing with the business and just being an artist. So I've learned so much from them. They've been really fundamental for me.
Well, I guess I could start off with our first question. You talked a lot about how you knew you wanted to do acting and all of that from a young age. Why come to Pepperdine?
Yeah, such a good question. Yeah. So on that same track of me kind of committing to, I wanted to do acting and then journalism from there, like interviewing and stuff, I ended up wanting to pivot to more behind the scenes things within media. Because I think once you audition for a while and then you see the type of stories that are being published, and a lot of them were things that I, don't totally believe in or don't want certain people being portrayed in a certain way. So I wanted to do screenwriting from there, meaning that I was like, I think I want to create the stories versus just being like plugged into the story. And so me and my mom has been an artist for a long time. She's just a very creative person. She used to write plays and like sing and do music. So me and her actually ended up coming together to start writing screenplays. And that's how I got into writing. And that has been kind of what I've been fixed on because there are just certain things within my career that I think God wants me to do. Because I always think of like my purpose as being intertwined with so many other people. So if that means that I get to create something that's inspiring, that people can work on something that they believe in, meaning whether that's jobs for actors, producers, people like myself who want to be a part of the stories, but I don't like the stories that are being told. I kind of want to just change that by creating different narratives. So leading to how that connects to Pepperdine, I just felt like it was such a God thing that I ended up at this school, being that it's kind of in the heart of the industry. It's, by LA, Los Angeles, Hollywood, where I typically spend most of my time. And then it's a Christian school. And it was like, I just prayed about it. This was going to be the only school that I submitted to because I just, and I just had very strong convictions that God wanted me to go here.
So I know you talked about kind of who has mentored you and been really impactful for you. And I'm curious, and I'm sure other people might be curious as well. How many NDAs have you signed?
That's a good question.
Is there anything that you can tell us, if at all?
Yeah, I've signed a lot of NDAs. I've signed a lot. Well, I think it's kind of second nature when you're in a creative space because everyone's always worried about protecting their ideas.
Right.
And when you're in creative spaces, whether that could be someone's house, it can be just like an environment, a mixer for people who are in entertainment. Yeah. It can be anything, but it can also just be a hangout. But like, I think you end up signing NDAs just by being in creative spaces because no one wants their creative ideas stolen.
I guess we'll head a little bit of a different direction. Okay. I think one of the first things that I noticed about you was your confidence. And
Thanks.
we just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that, and like, how did you learn to truly find yourself, and where did you find your confidence? How did you find it?
I think firstly, just having a sense of your identity makes you very comfortable with leaning into that. And for me, like that just totally comes from having a relationship with Jesus. Like if I didn't know that there's something bigger than myself, I think it makes you a lot more shy and kind of passive because you don't feel like you're worthy of kind of claiming the things you want or the things you need to get to. But I feel like if your identity is rooted in Jesus and you focus on the fact that you have a purpose and that there's something that God needs you to accomplish, you have so much more confidence because it's like I'm asking for stuff or I'm just being who I am in the name of the Lord. And without that backing, I feel like I'd be a completely different person because like God can give you some audacity because you have an understanding that there's something God needs to accomplish. And I think you take life so much more serious in the way you conduct yourself when you kind of move with that mindset. And then I also kind of made like an acronym for the way I want to live my life and like the type of person I want to be, like my life philosophy. So I made this acronym.
This is awesome.
Thanks. I made this acronym a few years ago, and the acronym is VIPs. So like very important person/persons. And I feel like everyone wants to be a very important person, right? And so it stands for V for vision. So this just means that I have like an overarching theme for my life or something I'm trying to accomplish, somewhere I'm trying to get. So that's the big vision for my life. This is kind of like in between me and God, what I know he needs me to do in my lifetime. And it gets clearer, you know, as you spend more time with God or just as you get older in general. So that's my V. And then my I is for intention. So you have your intention, and this is kind of your everyday guiding principles, the policies you put in place, the things you have to uphold day by day that feed into your vision, because stuff's not just, you know, going to get done on its own. You have to have intentions every day, whether that's like keeping your checklist of things that I need to do to make this thing happen that I have this big vision for. And then the P stands for persistence. And persistence, this is something that I've had to pray for years. Like persistence. Yeah. Like it's a hard one, but like I think just having this strength or this energy that drives you to keep doing things even when your motivation goes away. It's kind of like discipline. So like discipline is the thing that steps in when motivation is fleeting, because we're not always going to feel like motivated and at our highest energy every day. So having persistence is going to help you keep those everyday intentions that feed into your big vision. And then the S for VIPs, you can say it like that. The S is just for service. And it's kind of like Pepperdine, service, purpose, leadership. Literally. Yeah, but the S stands for service. And I think this is the most important aspect, because whatever your personal big vision is for your life, it has to serve people. It has to serve a group of people. And I think you should know kind of in detail who you want to serve. And like for me, I know I want to serve people through art, through creating edifying media, whether that's like the scripts my mom and I write or just things that I'm a part of. Even like this kind of stuff. This is like, it's a service to people when you provide just good edifying entertainment. And then another aspect of that is like serving fatherless youth and like foster kids. I know that's a part of my purpose. So having your service, what is the service aspect of your big vision? So that's my acronym, VIP.
I love that. Yeah. We need to do that too.
Me too. Thanks. So yeah, when it comes to confidence, I think it's just trying to let God do his thing, knowing that nothing revolves around you. When you walk in a room, no one's paying attention to you. You just have to keep telling yourself, like, you can't be self-centered because there's so much to be accomplished that has nothing to do with who you are. And you're just the vessel for whatever, you know, God wants to do.
I love that that you said God gives you the audacity. That's probably my favorite thing I've ever heard.
Oh my gosh.
Because I feel like I take that to heart, and I think that, there's some people that kind of get lost in themselves because they're not really thinking that there are things greater than yourself.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
I also just love the word audacity.
I love the word audacity, yes.
Riley's favorite word.
So I maybe just segueing off of your confidence. I talk about this all the time with Katie. I have never seen you in a loungy outfit. Like, you're always wearing something
you're
that's
always
like
looking so good.
I see it, I'm like, that's a good outfit every single time I see you. So
thank you.
Does that play into your confidence, and is that why you kind of dress up every day? And also, who is your biggest style inspiration?
Ooh, okay.
We totally have to like insert some clips of your outfits.
Oh my gosh, yeah, literally.
That would be
a slideshow of Joy's outfit.
I think next year I should take a picture of you every single time I see you and just have Joy's outfits.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you. That's like one of the best compliments. I think I just like clothes. Like, I just like playing around, putting fun stuff together. It's something me and my mom, we love shopping.
Oh yeah.
We love shopping a little too much. Like, my mom is my favorite person to just go out with and pick clothes. We have too much fun sometimes. But I would say, in terms of like style and like how that relates to confidence, but maybe just like if you're having a bad day, getting up and getting dressed, it can make you feel like, I have something to do today, and I have something I need to get done. So maybe it puts that drive in you to like.
Maybe the outfit gives you the audacity.
The audacity, yeah. Maybe so. Maybe to some extent. That's a good question. I like that perspective. I guess like when people are like, you dress good, you feel good. Maybe my biggest style icons. Ooh, I'm definitely influenced a little bit by my mom. My mom has some good style, I must say, and then. I would say I'm going to throw it way back. Janet Jackson.
Oh.
I love Janet Jackson's style, like throwback. And then I also love Rihanna's style.
Yeah.
I love Rihanna's style.
She has really good street style.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what I like the most about, like, say, a Rihanna or a Janet Jackson? I love mixing, like, masculine elements with feminine.
Yeah.
I love those two together. So if it's, like, you might have a skirt, but a manly looking blazer or something, like I just like pairing up masculine and feminine combinations. I feel like it always
like mini skirt, oversized bomber jacket.
Sneakers. I'm a big y'all know I'm a big sneakers girl. So.
Yes.
So you talked a little bit about the mentors that are in your life. I know this could be very hard to answer and just pick one thing, but what is the best advice you've ever been given?
It definitely comes from my parents. They've given me so much wisdom. Like, I'm trying to pinpoint one thing. Also, I feel like I didn't say that during my mentors segment. Gotta throw it back to mom and dad are like, it's a given.
OGs.
The OG mentors. Me and my parents, we're really close, and like I'm very grateful for them as friends, like business partners and mentors. They're all of that. I'm gonna combine like two pieces of advice. So one is my parents. Obviously, they've kind of raised me to invest in my relationship with God and like build that foundation on Jesus. That's the best advice. And then I'm going to tie that in with something that my mom and dad emphasize a lot, which is like seed, time, and harvest. They always tell me, like, remember, there's a time to build and there's seed time and harvest. So you have to be planting seeds. You have to water those seeds, and you have to wait, and the harvest is going to come. I think that's just a good way to kind of go through life, remembering that. It helps you not get discouraged when you're having to be patient. It helps you like keep being persistent. And then I want to tie that with one more piece of advice, which is from all of my mentors who I before named. So they have this thing, which I think Mr. Richard came up with it, and it's, you have to have backward thinking, with forward motion. And this basically means that you have to visualize the point that you want to reach in your life. And then once you have a picture of that, you think backwards from there. So you set this goal here and you think backwards of what is everything that I need to do to get to that place. So it's kind of like you map out your steps to get to that goal there. And I feel like when you have the philosophy of that backward thinking with forward motion, it makes everything come much clearer to you, and it makes you believe that anything's possible. So I would say like those are some of the best pieces of advice that I've received.
With the advice that you've been given, what advice would you give kind of to women our age or younger?
I think I would say, I don't want to say don't care about what people think about you, because like a reputation's important in you conducting yourself in the right manner, if you will. But I think I would say, like how I've heard people say this, play for an audience of one. So like everything you do it for your audience of one, which is just like God and you. So before you do anything or make any decision, check in, is this okay with God? Yeah, if this might not be okay with this person, but it's okay with God, you know, do it. Is this okay with God? No. Do I want to do this? Yeah. Well, I can't do it, you know? So I think just like play for an audience of one, and don't really care about any opinions outside of just like that connection between you and God.
We wanted to play a game of Would You Rather.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
I mean, these are very like random. So our first one is, would you rather have a 1-minute conversation with your past self or your future self? If you want to answer to help Joanna.
Yeah, what would y'all say?
I think that I would have a conversation with my future self, because there's nothing that I would change in my past, because I don't really have regrets. It's made me who I am. So at this point, it's like I would rather talk to my future self and possibly like make changes as I would need.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I would talk to my past self, because I feel like there's a lot of advice that I could give to my past self that would maybe, not that I regret anything, but I could prevent certain things from happening. So yeah, anyways, I'd go to my past and talk to your past.
Okay. Yeah. I think
tiebreaker.
I'm going to say future.
Nice.
Yeah, I would go to my future self, because up to this point, like, I don't think I would take anything from like my journey or decisions, even if I'm like, ooh, I could have not made that decision. I don't think I would alter anything. So I would talk to my future self to make sure that I was like, are we on course, girl? Yeah. Yeah. So future
are
self.
We doing good?
Yeah. Are we doing what we need to be doing? Yeah.
This one's interesting. Would you rather find your passion or the love of your life?
Me and my roommate talk about this all the time. By find your passion, does that mean like, I think like your dreams come into fruition?
Yeah, career, kind of like doing what you
I'm so sorry. It's going to be my career. Not even my career, but my purpose.
Yeah.
That I have to see that come into fruition. Sorry, love. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, but my passion.
Oh, this is hard, because I am very driven, and I love like growing in your career and your dreams. But if I had to choose, I would maybe do love of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's harder not to choose love of your life when you have one.
Yeah.
You know? So maybe that's why I would choose it.
Yeah.
But if you asked me a year ago, I would absolutely have said career. Would you rather be stuck in a romantic comedy with your worst enemy, or in a horror movie with your best friend?
Oh, in a horror movie with my best friend.
I said the same thing.
It would be so funny. It would be the comedy.
I think if I chose the first option, I would
be unwell.
It would be unwell.
That would be a horror movie.
It would be a horror movie.
She said it would be unwell.
Hands will be thrown. It just wouldn't. But then, like, you know, the audience is cracking up, but I'm not cracking up.
I guess I will choose romantic comedy with my enemy. Maybe
enemies to lovers.
Probably just because I hate horror movies and I'm like terrified of spiders. So imagine me in a horror movie.
The horror movie-ish that just came to mind that we would be in-ish. I say ish because you'll see the movie on Netflix called Bird Box where they're blindfolded. I just imagined I would be open, like my eyes would be open, but I would have to blindfold you and just carry you everywhere.
Probably.
That's so funny.
Just protect me. Joy, thank you so much for being our second guest, bearing with us through the trial and error of having guests for the first time. We enjoy working with you and just being friends with you, and we think your story is awesome. And so we're just glad to have had you.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for having me. This was an honor. I love y'all's podcast. I love what you guys are doing. I love you guys as people. If you guys don't know them like in real life, you guys are a real pleasure to know, like real talk.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love knowing you guys, and I'm so happy to be on your podcast. So thank y'all for having me.
Absolutely.
You will be back.
Oh yeah.
We will get more life updates.
To get to go shopping with y'all.
That is happening.
That'll be so much fun.
Bye.
Bye, Deal Podcast.